It's time to talk the world American perspective. Presented by Three Lions Pub, you're listening to Two Up Front, where we focus on all things American soccer, from the NWSL, MLS, U.S. national teams, and all the way to the youth levels. Now in the studio, your hosts, Baxter Colburn and Simon Provan.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am Baxter Colburn.
And this is Simon Provan, at least for the first segment anyways, Baxter.
Hey, you know, anything is better than nothing, right, Simon? I will take what I can get. You are off on assignment today. You're playing Dad today, correct? And you kind of teased it on Tuesday, but reiterate for us what you've got going on today. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
I'm playing Dad, actually more like movie star chauffeur today. My youngest daughter, Bethany, is on set doing a feature film out in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. I'm also in the film. I'll be doing my stuff on Saturday and Sunday, but we're actually up here for Bethany. She's playing the younger version of the main character in this awesome film called The Open Door, being produced by Salty Earth Pictures. I don't have a release date for you yet, but that's what's going on. So
that's awesome. Well, congratulations to your daughter Bethany. A very exciting time for her. I mean, like you said, you're playing the chauffeur today. You thought you were going to be the acclaimed actor in the family. Now all of a sudden your daughters are overtaking you, Simon.
Hey, that's okay. And who's ever making the money, that's fine by me.
Exactly. Until they start diving into hosting nationally broadcast soccer shows, then I think you're okay. If they start doing that, be like, whoa, girls, whoa, like Dad's got to have something. Like, don't take all the things I like to do. Come on. But no, hopefully not. You never know. I know Bethany is an incredible soccer player as well. But Simon, we've got a good show. Like I said, you're only joining us for the first 10 minutes of the show, but for those of you that are sticking around for the entire duration, you'll get to hear 4 awesome different guests. We'll have Chicago Red Stars midfielder Cara Walls joining us. She is a Wauwatosa, Wisconsin native, so it'll be cool to have someone that lived just all of 15 minutes from our downtown studios. We'll have Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Barrier joining us as well in our third segment. Our fourth segment will be Milwaukee Wave goal-scoring machine Ian Bennett, and then to close it off, Jonathan Tannewald is going to check in with us from the big conference that's going on out west in California right now as well, too.
Yeah, the big convention, the NSCAA convention.
Yes. Yep. So we've got a full slate of things for you today, and of course we want to remind you that you can find the show by listening Tuesdays and Thursdays from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Time. Simon and I aren't going to tell you the big announcement that we have yet, but we will say that in February things might be changing just a little bit, but for a good cause and a good reason. So stay tuned for more information about that as we find out more. And of course you can find everything you need to know about the show by going to our website, twoupfrontsoccer.com as well.
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook, where we may tease our big possible announcement. 2 Up Front in the search bar, you'll find us there. Go ahead and give us a like while you're there. It doesn't cost you anything. You can find us on Twitter, at 2 Up Front Soccer. As always, make sure you're using the number 2. And you can find our personal Twitter handles, at Simon Provan, at Baxter Colburn, and I am currently apparently at a very busy corner in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin.
So I was going to say, like, Simon, get out of the middle of the street. Holy cow.
Just playing a quick game of Frogger to get myself woken up this afternoon.
Perfect. I love it. All right, Simon. Well, one of the things that may have woken a couple of people in the soccer world is rumors surrounding Jesse Marsch. He might be keeping the Red Bulls name, but he might be changing countries. Can you give us a little bit more info about what Jesse Marsch might be doing?
Yeah, so it looks like Jesse Marsch may be heading over to Austria to be with RB Salzburg, of course, RB standing for Red Bulls, as you were alluding to, Baxter. The team's doing really well. They're in second place. But apparently their head coach may be up for some bigger jobs out in Europe. So it looks like Salzburg is trying to protect themselves in case their current coach leaves. Listen, there's a lot of credibility to these rumors because Jesse Marsch isn't even at the MLS Combines this week.
Yeah, and he has said he will be back in time for the actual draft. Supposedly he's on his way back, but it's a developing story according to MLSsoccer.com, at least this morning. But wouldn't that be interesting, though? We always hear about, how American coaches do in England, but, Austria is nothing to laugh at, and RB Salzburg is a pretty darn good team as well, too. That's a pretty household name, I'd like to say, across all of Europe in terms of history and overall success.
Well, here's the big thing, too, Baxter. This is a Champions League club.
Yeah.
So Jesse Marsh may be getting his Champions League experience. Obviously, with the sad story that was Bob Bradley over at Swansea.
Rest in peace,
from
Bob
a bigger
Bradley.
Perspective, right? Yes, thank you. So from an American perspective, it would be nice to have another American coach, maybe not in the top league, but certainly in a respectable league over in Europe. I'd be interested to see how Jesse does. I don't think there's any shame in having your Red Bulls New York coach get up and head over to Austria. I mean, it says a lot about what he's done with his clubs, the style of his coaching. And it looks like if this does happen, the New York Red Bulls will be bringing on one of his assistants, Chris Armitz, who, of course, I watched back when I was younger, playing for the U.S. national team, and unfortunately missing out on an Olympics and a World Cup, both times due to injury. So it'd be nice to see Chris at least get something out of this as well.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. And I think I feel like if you, aside from Bruce Arena, I'd like to say that Jesse Marsh, and I could be wrong on this, Jesse Marsh is probably one of the top 3 managers in all of Major League Soccer. I mean, people could say maybe Caleb Porter or Dom Kinnear or, other gentlemen, of course, as well, too. There's a long list of acclaimed MLS coaches. But I'd like to say Jesse Marsh, for all he's accomplished, deserves to be, at least in my mind, a top 3, if not a top 5, coach in all of MLS.
Well, look, he took a club that was already doing well under Mike Petke. The supporters were ticked off when
they were furious.
Curtis,
Furious.
Yep. But all Jesse Marsh has done is made that club stronger and better.
How can you argue against that?
Exactly. So the one thing he hasn't been able to do yet is lift that MLS Cup trophy. But a couple of Shield winners in there, a couple of conference championships. Yeah, he's done nothing but good things in MLS.
Yeah.
You can't argue with his results.
No, I don't really think you can. Speaking of which, I was reminded by this on social media by multiple platforms yesterday, Simon, that yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of David Beckham signing with the LA Galaxy, which some might say just completely revolutionized Major League Soccer as a whole for the DP, onslaught of players that came in and just the pushing MLS into the 21st century, some might say as well, too. But I feel like I didn't realize it was 10 years ago. I feel like I thought it kind of was longer than that personally, but 10 years ago, David Beckham signing. Do you remember your thoughts and reactions when you heard David Beckham had signed with the Galaxy back in the day?
Yeah, I was actually in grad school, and along with training as a professional actor, I was actually the lead soccer writer for the Daily Texan down at the University of Texas. So I was able to jump on that story and cover it a little bit. I was amazed. I was shocked. There were rumors for a year that this was going to happen. This new rule called the Beckham Rule.
Yeah.
And then it actually happened, Baxter. And I remember the ridiculous numbers that the 19 Group or whatever his agency was at that time, throwing out that he was going to be paid $250 million over 5 years. When it ended up being that was actually all the endorsement money that he was getting by coming over to the U.S. and he was actually getting $5 million a year. But even that number at MLS in that time was
unheard of.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely
unheard of, right? So for Beckham to take that huge risk, by the way, and of course, then if anything, he ticked off more people in his first couple of years because he kept leaving to go to other leagues, Serie A and whatnot. But you look back on the decade of the Beckham Rule, and it is amazing. I knew he would have an effect on the league, but the effect that he has had, how much this league has grown, it really does go back to David Beckham. And there's another player it goes back to as well, Baxter. It goes back to Landon Donovan saying, I'm staying in this league. I want to help this league grow. So Donovan helped lay that foundation, and I got to say, Beckham coming over, it did give this young league an air of legitimacy. And now you see all these names coming over, and of course now there's been an evolution as well, where now you're seeing these DP slots not being used on old superstars, which you still do, but you're seeing more younger and younger DPs coming into the league.
You're absolutely right about that. And I think that's only made the league better. I mean, realistically, if you would have said, I don't know who the equivalent would have been 10 years ago, but you would have gotten Sebastian Giovinco whoever that equivalent would have been 10 years ago coming to MLS, I think people would have just laughed their heads off, basically being like, wait, I don't know who the equivalent would have been 10 years ago at that point, but do you get somebody that young and in their prime coming over willingly saying, I want to play in MLS, would have been laughable. Or even 10 years ago, David Villa in his prime coming over, I think people would have just absolutely laughed and been like, there's no chance that that's actually going to happen. Why would you want to go to America and play soccer? But I think by Beckham taking that risk really did, having Beckham and Donovan on the same team as well too, advocating for MLS, saying, look, this is a good league, it's growing, just give it some time, I think really made MLS what it is today, honestly. I think you can't really argue too much negative against what Beckham and Donovan did for those time together.
Completely agree with you, Baxter.
All right, last thing, Simon, before we let you run, is the NWSL draft is today. I know there's a couple of players, of course, we're going to be pulling for. One which is a Badger as well, too, that we're hoping to see, and might go first overall as well.
Yeah, Rose Lavelle out of Wisconsin. We talked about her on a show a couple of weeks ago, but with the lack of time we have, Baxter, now you got to get the break. That's basically what it comes down for me. Badger pride. My brother went to UW Wisconsin, or UW Madison, not UW Wisconsin. You know what I mean?
I got you.
She's been called up to the women's national team. It's exciting to see the women's program up at Wisconsin continue to be strong, and to have such a player like Rose Lavelle coming out of that. It'll be cool to see where she ends up. Does she deserve to be number one? I think you can say, for looking at the entirety of her college career, absolutely. If you were to base it off just this last year, no, probably not. But overall, I don't think you can go wrong with her.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. All right, Simon, on that note, I have to let you run, unfortunately, but you enjoy your time there being a chauffeur, and tell your daughter to break a leg from all of us here in the studio.
All right, thanks for taking care of the show today, Baxter.
Absolutely, Simon. We'll see you again next week, sir. Have a good one.
You as well.
All right, thank you. We're going to run to a break. When we come back, speaking of UW Madison alumni, we'll have one on the show. Cara Walls of the Chicago Red Stars is going to be here with us. We'll get her thoughts about her second season in NWSL and all that other fun stuff that goes with being a professional soccer player. You're listening to Two Up Front, presented by Three Lines Pub. Stay with us. Welcome back to Two Up Front, presented by Three Lines Pub, here from the Attention Era Media Studios. I am Baxter Colburn. You heard from Simon Provan in the first segment, but he is working remotely today and will not be here in the studio. Traditionally, of course, you get both of us live and in person, coming to you through your whatever device you might listen to us, your computer, your phone, your tablet, your Walkman, if you can somehow tune us in on your Walkman. I'm not sure if that's physically possible anymore. I don't think it is. But either way, we're going to continue to move along with the show. We have a very Wisconsin-centered show today. It doesn't happen very often. For those of you that know, earlier this week on Tuesday, we had Allie Long of the U.S. Women's National Team on the show, which was just an absolute treat. We also had Caroline Stanley of Sky Blue FC on the show also. So you can go check out those interviews and other great content on our website, twoupfrontsoccer.com. So moving along with our first guest today. Joining us first on the shopfutsal.com call-in line is a midfielder for the Chicago Red Stars. She also hails from the great state of Wisconsin. She probably grew up about 15 to 20 minutes from our Milwaukee, Wisconsin studios. It's Cara Walls, and she joins us now. Cara, welcome to Two Up Front. How are we doing today?
I'm good. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely,
excited to be on the show.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you on. I will admit a little bit of ignorance. I did not realize that you grew up in Tosa until I was doing a little bit more research about you before you came on the show. But kind of a crazy thing to go from living only basically an hour and a half of where you now work, quote unquote, playing soccer. But talk a little bit about that transition from going to play at the University of Wisconsin-Madison to then being drafted by the Red Stars and not even really being that far from where you call home with mom and dad.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a really good experience for me. I think it's been one that kind of been an easy transition because going to school in Madison, I was about like an hour and a half away, and then from Milwaukee to Chicago, it's about like an hour and a half, hour 45.
Yeah, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, it's been really nice. I've been able to like come home on off days during the season, and like if we ever get some time off, then I really think that's like a treat when you have teammates, from like California and the East Coast, and they would just like love to come home for just like a day or two. So it's something I definitely don't take for granted. I really enjoy it, but I'm also sometimes have that itch to get like far away or like go play on the other side of the world. But I feel like that's natural when you've been in the Midwest your whole life. But I definitely don't take it for granted because there's a lot of good things.
Exactly, and I would agree with you on that one. The Midwest is certainly an interesting place. I spent the first 13 years of my life here, then moved to Florida for 8 years, and then decided to come back for college and ended up settling here with my family. But it is an interesting thing. If you live in the Midwest your entire life, you're like, okay, I feel like I need to just what else is out there? What's even out on the East Coast? Kind of a thing. But that is an interesting point, though, too, that you made about when you play professional sports, you have the opportunity, especially in soccer, to go play all around the world, basically, whether it's in Europe or in Australia or in Asia. In your first 2 years that you've been playing professional, has there been any other offers or loan offers for you, or interest at least to go to play someplace else domestically or internationally, rather?
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities kind of there for you to take advantage of. It's like there's, I think, 8 girls on my Chicago Red Stars teams that are actually in Australia right now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, so, I mean, I could have done that as well. My last off-season, I actually had to go back to UW-Madison and finish school. And then this off-season, I kind of decided I just wanted to figure some stuff out. Like, my first time, like, being a real adult without school, so I just wanted to, like, figure some stuff out. But, being here in the Midwest, my second off season, I really kind of got the desire to like go play on loan somewhere next off season and really experience it. Because like it is a really good opportunity that we can easily take advantage of. So I haven't like sat down with any contracts, but there's definitely a lot of opportunities out there for me to go play.
Well, I think that definitely, and you're still very young in your career as well too. You've got a lot of life left in you, as it were. I mean, being such a young player. Let's talk about this 2016 campaign. Obviously, the Red Stars didn't make it to the final. They were very close to doing so. You got to play in 12 games total. You started 8 of them, which I think is really impressive. Of course, for only your second year, you did score 1 goal as well, which I'm sure is always a good experience to build confidence. But what were some of the big things that you took away from not only your team but your performance in 2016, and what are you looking to do better in this coming season?
I think for me, 2016 was like a really good confidence building year. Because my first year, I think I only started 1 game, and I was subbed in a couple of games, but I didn't really get any opportunities as a starter. And then this year, people were gone with the Olympics, and there were some spots to be filled, and like I got a chance and did okay. So that was just kind of good to be like, okay, I can like really play and compete at this level if I just focus on what I do well and perfect my game and what I can bring to the team. Like there is like a permanent spot for me if I can step up for it. So that was a really good kind of step from being someone who was just kind of not playing as much, but still like on the team, to like actually playing a big role in the team. So I think I would just look to like carry that confidence on into next season to like play an even bigger role, be an even more like dependent, figure for our team. And just keep taking things away from the other players that I'm playing with, because I'm playing, I as a forward, I'm playing with, in my opinion, like the best forward in the world, Kristen. So it's like really fun.
No bias at all. I like it.
No bias at all, but that, my personal.
But she's pretty awesome. Yeah, exactly. I would agree with you.
It's fun to just play with her and learn from those really good players. So like wherever I do end up, I can kind of take those things and get some more experience under my belt.
No, and I would agree with you, and that's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to be stagnant in what you're doing. You don't want to stunt your growth. Why would you play professionally or play at the highest level if you didn't want to try to get better, as a whole? And I know, Cara, exactly. I mean, like you said, playing with Kristen Press and a lot of the other gals that are on the team that know how to put the ball in the back of the net, I think is absolutely incredible. Cara, kind of transitioning a little bit, you going back to actually your days of playing for FC Milwaukee and back in Tosa East High School as well too. You were able to win a national championship, or a couple back in the day. You were a top scorer as well. How was playing for those clubs before you got to the professional level? How did that help fully prepare you with all the skills and the coaching that you received at that point?
I think it helped me a lot. I had some decisions to make in high school. Like everyone, I played a bunch of sports, basketball, tennis, and soccer. And my senior year, I decided to give up tennis and basketball and just focus on soccer, and did the club thing with FC Milwaukee. And I didn't play high school soccer. So even though I played soccer year round, I didn't play with my high school. I played with my club year round.
Okay.
So at that age, there was definitely some sacrifices that I made because I knew I was serious about soccer. And I think they just paid off. And I'm lucky that I had the option to play with FC Milwaukee, because they had some of the best players in the state, and we were playing at the highest level of competition. Our trainings were really intense, and not everyone in Wisconsin has that opportunity.
Yeah,
because
I would agree with you.
We really just don't have the competition level here for to have 3 really competitive clubs. It's usually you get one super competitive club that can compete on a national level. And so I was kind of really lucky to be a part of that one for my age group, and we happened to just have the right girls from all over the state who were really good, and we just made it work. So yeah, it was really awesome. It definitely propelled my career, being able to play with FC Milwaukee and compete at that high level. And girls that I'm playing with now, I remember seeing them at nationals at U18, so it was just kind of that high level that we got to be a part of as a youth, and that definitely where it all started.
I'm supposed to ask you as well too. My co-host Simon is usually here, but he's off today, unfortunately. But his brother, I believe it was Jake Provan, coached FC Milwaukee for a while as well too. He wanted me to know if you ever ran into a Coach Provan in your playing days of FC Milwaukee at all.
Coach Provan?
Yes, Provan.
I don't know. I mean, I've probably seen him, but the name doesn't sound familiar.
No, fair enough. He just asked me to ask you because he couldn't remember himself. He was like, I don't remember if my brother coached the years she was there or when it was, but he told me to ask you. But before we wrap things up, Cara, today, as you know, is the NWSL draft. You were the very first Badgers player drafted, which is a very exciting thing. There's a new Badger being heralded around the world. Rose Lavelle. A lot of folks are excited about her. Briefly give us your experiences about getting that call on draft day saying, hey, you've been selected, and just kind of the emotion that goes along with that as well too, because it's life-changing. It really is. It's super exciting. I think with the NWSL, at least for me, it's not really a huge deal in the world. There wasn't even really a show. I found out via Twitter, but so I feel it's a big deal for your circle and everyone who's been encouraging you and been there, and all the Badger people. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited for Rose and just kind of the growth of the Badgers into an elite program that's putting out top level soccer players. I think that's really exciting, and I'm excited for Rose and all the other players from Wisconsin who want to get a chance in the WSL. Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Really fast, before we let you go, what is one thing about Rose's game that you think is going to make her successful at the professional level?
Her quickness and ability to dribble and beat players 1v1 off the ball. It's something just, we do so many like passing patterns and moving into space to break the defense down that when you can have one person who can just like beat someone off the dribble and break the defense down, it can make, a 7 passing pattern.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Especially like with women. So yeah, that's really dangerous. It's hard to defend, breaks defenses down. And if she can just keep getting better at that, she's going to be really hard to deal with.
Well, fantastic. Well, Cara, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. So thank you for taking some time today. And we hope to have you back on the show again soon if it works out.
Yeah, I would love that.
Absolutely. All right, Cara, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good show.
Thank you. There goes Cara Walls on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. When we come back, we will be keeping it in the Milwaukee area. We'll have Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Barry joining us to talk about the Torrent's 2017 season, their Great Lakes Conference that they're going to be in, and a lot more. Stay with us. It's 2 Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub. Back right after this. Welcome back to 2 Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub. I'm Baxter Colburn, back inside the Attention Era Media Studios. No Simon Provan. He'll be joining us again next week. He joined us in the first segment if you missed that. Great conversation with Chicago Red Stars forward Cara Walls there in our second segment. But now we get to keep it in the Milwaukee area. A very Milwaukee-centered show today. We've had players on. We've had the man himself, the head coach Andy Davi, on the show as well, too. But we've never had goalkeeper Nick Barry on the show. But now he gets to join us on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. Nick, welcome to 2 Up Front, sir. How are we doing today?
How you doing, Baxter?
I'm doing well, Nick. It's great to chat with you, and let's immediately jump right into it. Last season, a very successful season. The Midwest Central Division Championship season. You guys really just kind of took it to the NPSL last season in terms of the provisional division that you guys are a part of. But I'm curious to get your perspective. We've gotten a lot of the field players. We've gotten head coach Andy Davi's opinions about the season. But as a goalkeeper, you see the game in an entirely different lens. What were your thoughts about the 2016 Torrent season?
It was definitely a good season for us. We kind of I don't want to use the word run through the season or run through the teams, but we definitely took care of business when it came to getting results on the field. That being said, I think this upcoming season is even a higher mountain for us to climb, but one that we can do not easily, but I like our chances. I'm very confident in our abilities as a team.
And you talk about, too, this upcoming season, you're going to be facing a couple of teams that have gotten national recognition, rumors of even becoming MLS teams at some point. You're going to have to deal with Detroit City FC this year, a team that draws thousands and thousands of fans to every single home game. It's going to be a powerhouse that you guys are going to have to deal with. You're going to take on FC Indiana, the Michigan Stars, AFC Ann Arbor, Lansing United, Kalamazoo. There's a lot of other great teams, but you're going to have to do a lot of your conference games, basically your divisional games, on the road on a relatively far away thing. This isn't like you're going on an hour drive away. You're going to have to be traveling. Right. You're going to have to be traveling to a lot of these games, of course. But do you feel that because you were so successful last season that it should transition relatively easily this season for being able to dominate teams again, or is it going to be a much more challenging affair that you guys have to deal with?
I think it depends on what you're used to playing in front of as a player. I played at Grand Rapids and Ann Arbor, so I've played in front of those numbers a little bit. guys that don't, or guys that haven't played in front of those numbers in the past, it might be a bit of a shock, but a shock in a good way.
Yeah.
To be the best, you got to beat the best, and this conference, like you said, is getting national recognition. So we want to be on the same field as these guys. We definitely respect our opponents, but I'm going to be honest, we're not going to fear any of them. We got a good group of guys coming in. I think the guys returning have a good head on their shoulders, and we're itching to get back on the field and put a good product on the field.
And I think the product that you had in 2016 was certainly a very good-looking product. You had a lot of offensive talent on your team with James Weber, Nemanja Medic, and Ian Bennett, and a lot of others that certainly didn't have a lot of trouble putting the ball in the back of the net. And some might say, though, too, and we asked this, of course, of Coach Andy Davi, because you guys had so much, some people would say a fairly easy season. Hopefully that will transition over there. The confidence will be there. And you're going to have an even better roster as well, too. You've already had some great players that have been signed this offseason.
Right.
So you can definitely get more security in that regards. What are some of the things you've been doing this offseason to stay in shape and prepare yourself for the 2017 season?
This offseason for me has been a little frustrating. I tore some ligaments in my ankle the last game of the year, so the last 4 months, I've spent a lot of time in rehab, trying to strengthen that ankle. But I'm sure the other guys are doing the same as I'm starting to now. Is just shake off the rust, get into shape, and just they're looking forward to the season. It's every day, whether it's going to the gym, going on a run, hitting the weights, always touching the ball. Guys are starting to work out together. Consistency and team cohesiveness is going to be crucial, especially playing the talent that we're going to play this year. So if we can all be on the same page, we're going to be able to hit the ground running come end of April.
Talking with Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Berry on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. Nick, looking ahead to the 2017 season, from what we've heard, a lot of the roster that you had last season is going to be returning, which I think is fantastic. It certainly keeps that overall cohesiveness together. One name we haven't heard about yet is Declan Rodriguez. Have you heard anything at all about whether or not Declan's going to be joining the team in 2017?
I can't speak in depth about it just because I don't know a whole lot of details. I know he's over in Holland doing a trial with a reserve team from Ajax, I believe.
Oh, fantastic!
I haven't talked to him personally, but we wish him all the best. As a soccer player, you want to play at the highest level possible, and an opportunity to go play for a program like Ajax overseas would be a dream come true to a lot of guys.
No kidding.
So the best wishes go out to Declan. And he's got a spot here. If unfortunately if things don't work out, we'd love to have him back. But as far as details, I don't really know. Like I said, I don't think his phone works in Holland. But
fair enough.
But he's training. Just like anyone else. If anyone else was over there, we'd want them to focus on training and putting their best foot forward when it comes to playing footy.
Talk to me about the defense in 2016. You were very much a more attacking style defense. You had center backs like Drew Ruggles that were going all the way up to midfield and launching balls into the offensive side of the field. There, you had Logan Fye and Chris Kurth running up and down the sidelines. Aaron Horvat as well too. What made your defense so good in 2016? Was it the communication? Was it what was it? I'm really curious about what you think made the team so good.
I think we were very dynamic when it comes to a back line. We had guys that, you talk about a back four. There are some systems where that back four will stay on your defensive side of midfield, but we had guys that wanted the ball, especially Drew and Kurth. I played with Kurth in college, so I kind of know how he plays a little more than say Drew or Logan or Aaron. But the guys wanted the ball; they wanted to be a part of the offense. And if you can have defenders that are making runs, that's just going to give the opposition more of a headache. And I definitely like being up in the box. I'm not one to sit back in my own 18. You can kind of use me as a sweeper keeper if you want to use that term. But
more of a Manuel Neuer kind of a goalkeeper.
Yeah. if I can, if I can mirror how he plays, that's I'm doing all right for myself.
Yeah, exactly. If
but,
you can be in that same conversation, you're definitely on the right road to success, to say the least.
Yeah, right. No kidding. But I think, guys, as overall soccer IQ, I think especially the way teams are playing nowadays, I think you have to have an attacking-minded defense. It's going to give headaches for the opposition, and it's one more way that you can score. Say the opponents take away one of your strikers or one of your wingers, then they got to worry about one of your backs. Drew can put the ball in the net. Kurth can hit a nasty free kick. So we can attack and we can score from anywhere, and that's definitely dangerous, especially with the talent that we're playing this year.
Absolutely. And final thing here, Nick, before we let you go, the Torrent announced in the offseason they're moving from Eline Soccer Park to Hart Park in Wauwatosa, a much bigger stadium as a whole. Does that change at all, make any difference for the game that you're going to be seeing in front of you? I'm pretty positive it's the exact same playing surface, but does the change environment excite you? How do you feel about the move to Hart Park?
I liked playing at Eline. I liked the atmosphere. The fans were kind of right on top of the field. And I think that's an excellent atmosphere for soccer, especially for a local team like us, getting local, not only kids, but adult fans out there and having them a part of the game. But I'm very excited to move to Hart Park. It's a bigger stadium. Hopefully, I'd love to see us pack the stadium. I'm over the moon about the start of this season. Like I said, I'm coming off an injury, so I'm working out every day. But I'm itching to get back on the field, and I'm excited to see what we can do for the city of Milwaukee.
Well, fantastic. Well, Nick, it was always a pleasure to chat with you during Torrent season, but now I appreciate you joining us as well on Two Up Front, and hope we can do it again sometime soon as well, sir.
I hope so. Thanks for having me, Baxter.
Anytime, Nick. We'll talk to you soon. There goes Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Berry on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. When we come back, we will stay in Milwaukee again, and we will talk to Milwaukee Wave forward, attacker, goal-scoring machine Ian Bennett. He'll be with us live in studio. Yeah, live in studio. I said it. We'll talk to him right after this. It's Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub.
Lions Pub in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is just the place for me. They've got everything. Great pub food, a wonderful selection of draft beers, and a brilliant atmosphere, especially during Premier League matches. Check out the Three Lions Pub menu at threelionspub.com, where you can also find all their specials and the great events that take place throughout the year. Three Lions Pub, where across the pond is now across the street.
It's going down for real.
Welcome back to the Attention Era Media Studios here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub. I'm Baxter Colburn, no Simon Provan. Joining me in studio for the first time, I believe. Is this the first time you've actually been here? Is Milwaukee Wave attacker. I don't know if are you a forward, technically? Attacker?
I'm a midfielder.
A midfielder. He scores goals like a forward, though. It's Ian Bennett. He joins us in the studio now. Ian, how are we doing today, sir?
Not bad, Baxter. How are you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm doing well, Ian. Not as well as you, though. You're 31 goals this season already for the Wave. Holy cow.
Yeah,
what's working for you? It seems to be like you can't miss now.
No, let's knock on wood, but like we're playing really good, man. I think we're finding our stride right now. The team is doing great. I mean, the team has been setting me up, especially Max. So we've been working as a great duo, but we're just finding our rhythm, man. We're finding our touch, and we're just trying to make a good push for the playoffs and stuff.
And you talk about the playoffs as well, too. I mean, the standings, of course, are not exactly in your favor at this exact second. You guys are in fourth place in the Central Division. You're 6-5 overall, but you also are, to an extent, tied with Chicago and Kansas City, who also have 6 wins as well, too.
Yeah, I hate to say it. We kind of got to do like the Packers. We got to
run the table. You want to make that prediction right now?
Yeah,
like we're going to run the table.
Yeah, exactly like Aaron. But no, we got to do. We hold our own destiny. I mean, if we win out, which we're capable of doing, I think we can lose probably one more game. But if we take care of business like we know how we can do, I think we'll be fine.
One of the teams that has provided a little bit of friction for you guys this year has been Cedar Rapids. You've got former Wave coach Mark Litton on there and a couple other former Wave players as well, too. They must be doing something right, but what's been of your experience playing against Cedar Rapids? Why have they been such an Achilles heel to you guys this year?
Like, to be honest, it's been, I think, difficult just because we played so long with some of those guys, and I think our mindset has been a little different. But, I mean, we started good when we played them, but I don't think we've kept the pressure like normally. But I think these next two games, when they come to our house, I think you'll see a different Wave style. I think you'll see a different. I think we'll be more focused and headstrong. I think the last two games we played them, I think we just let other things get involved in our heads. I think when we played them and all that stuff. So I think we're going to treat it like a normal Wave game, and I think we're going to really bring it.
You guys play Chicago this weekend, which, Milwaukee, Chicago, always a big rivalry game as well too. And of course, they're just slightly ahead of you in the standings as well. What do you need to do to be successful against Chicago this weekend?
Yeah, massive, man. They're gonna bring it. I know some of their guys are healing up, and they're honestly looking really, really sharp. So we just got to try to play our game. Obviously, start quick, because I think that's been our. When we played well, we started really good. So I think we got to really keep that up and just play 4 quarters. Whatever happens in the second or third, just make sure we play all 4 quarters and try to win all 4 quarters. Because if you win all 4, you win obviously the game. So that's what we're trying to try to play a complete game.
One of the things that has been, not to continue to dwell on the negatives this season, but one of the things you guys have had issues with is winning in overtime. You've lost the 2 times you played in overtime this year, you lost, of course, to Cedar Rapids being one of them and Harrisburg being the other as well, too. But those were early on in the season, though, of course, as well. You guys have definitely expanded your horizons since then. You haven't really lost a game by more than, looks like, 3 goals since that absolute thrashing you took to Kansas City on opening day. But you guys obviously are coming together, and we've had Coach Olivier on the show a couple times as well too. He's definitely preached that the Wave want to win now, and it seems like you guys are trying to make that push. But if for some reason you don't make the playoffs this season, I don't feel like this season's. I don't think it's been a bad season, not to my knowledge at least. I don't think it would be a bad season if probably we talked to majority, but for myself and I'm sure some of the veterans, I think it would be. But at the start they were like some of the guys, we were losing a couple of games and everyone's like, it's a rebuilding stage. But honestly, I don't like that rebuilding stage. I think obviously we're young and stuff, but I think we could do it, man. I think we'll make the playoffs, man, to be honest, And I think we're just looking good. Like together, honestly, this is more of a team I've seen in a long time. We're actually we like each other, we get along. There's not too many egos, and everyone just has a good time, and we enjoy ourselves, man. How have you liked the being able to obviously play in the UW Panther Arena? I mean, it's a fun environment. It almost feels like you've got the fans on top of you to an extent, based off how the for those that don't know, the stadium is kind of set a little bit lower in. But what is that at? When you get a full house inside the Panther Arena, that's kind of a rocking environment to play in. Yeah, to be honest, man, we go to some arenas, I'm not gonna lie, and you're kind of like, geez, where are we at? But like, you come to the Panther Arena, like sometimes I don't want to make sure we take it for granted, but it's nice, man. We got the black turf, you got the lights. I mean, we got the craziest lights, man. When you score, it's crazy, but like, it's awesome. Like the front office, the owner, the GM, they do a great job, Mike and Dan, to put on a show, man. It looks, honestly, I love it. I had so many people tell me, like, I wasn't even into soccer, but we just love the show you guys put on and everything that goes along with it. And the Admirals moving in there helps us too, because they made it so nice. And yeah, it's a great venue. You guys got a new locker room too, didn't you? Locker room, honestly, I heard the hockey team's even better, but our locker room is awesome, man. It's top notch, man. So I enjoy it. I like it. I like coming every day to play at a home game. So it's definitely great. Just to kind of step away from soccer as a whole, and I know you obviously you're playing soccer religiously basically. Just to kind of play devil's advocate for a moment, how much time do you think you've got left playing professionally? Oh man, no, like honestly, I'm blessed. The body feels good, but I think honestly I got a good solid
4 more years, 5 more years, I'm a guy where if my numbers start declining, then I'll obviously take a look at it. But as if I keep putting up the numbers that I know I can, then obviously I'll keep playing. I mean, Jules was playing until he was like almost 40.
It's true.
Cello,
and indoor soccer is
40.
totally different too.
It is, man. So like I'm 33 right now, so I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, are you telling me I got 7 more years? So nah, but I just take a look at every season and just make sure my level is always high. And I'm doing a bunch of stuff with my clothing brand.
Yeah, that's been exciting. Congratulations with that.
It's been good, man. It's busy, but it's been really good. I've been happy.
Do you have any opportunities to play with the Canadian futsal team as well, too? We know that was kind of occupying a lot of your end of 2016.
Yeah, we started that. So, like, the thing right now is the beach soccer. So, some of the Canadians got invited. So, actually...
The Canadians have sand? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll find some beaches. But, yeah, so we got selected. But we got to obviously we got to take care of the Wave first. And then we'll see if we can go on that beach soccer trip in Bahamas. So,
ooh.
Yeah. So,
it's a little work and pleasure, I feel like, at the same time.
Yeah, so that's an incentive. If we can win some of these games, then maybe Coach, if we're nice to Jules, he'll let us go.
That's the way to do it. You probably heard we had Nick Berry on in our last segment from the Torrent. I believe you've announced you're going to be back with the Torrent this year. Was that correct?
Yeah. So we're obviously got to work out all the details, but yeah, like man, it's Milwaukee. I'm just whatever we can do in Milwaukee. I love this city. Like I don't think people understand. Like I'm from Canada. But I love this city. This city, I've met so many great people, man, and I'm just so blessed to keep meeting more. And I just, whatever I could do for this city to grow in, especially obviously soccer, but in anything, like I'm all about it.
And I think that's a huge testament to you as a whole. How did you find Milwaukee? I don't think I've ever heard this story. How did you end up in Milwaukee?
Obviously,
from Canada?
I got drafted when they started back then, when they started doing drafts. So I played in actually Chicago for 2 seasons.
Okay.
Then Chicago folded. And I got a call from, obviously, you guys know Keith Tozer, the big guy, man. So he called me. He's like, you want to come to Milwaukee? And I'm like, honestly, I only knew about Chicago. I never knew about Wisconsin.
What is this Milwaukee thing?
I knew about like Minnesota and stuff, but I'm like, okay, I can take a look. And honestly, I fell in love with it when I first took a visit. And then ever since, just fell in love with it, man. It's like second home to me.
What outside of the soccer world, what do you love so much about Milwaukee, though? I mean, is it the great food? Is it the music? Is it
I like the festivals.
German Fest, and all of those crazy things.
You guys can drink. I'm not gonna lie. The guys and the girls, like it's crazy. You guys can really drink your beer, man.
Yeah.
And
we gotta stay warm.
Yeah, you have to stay warm. But like I like the people that I've met. But downtown's nice. Summerfest is always crazy. Like I've never seen a Summerfest ground like that where you can have all these artists coming and just everybody coming together, have fun, and it's really cool, man.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, so finally thing here, Ian, before we let you go, talk to us a little bit more about obviously what you're doing with your clothing line a little bit more. So IB26 is what you got going on.
Yeah, so IB26, we got hats, we got 2 shirts. This is kind of the gold collection. We got the platinum collection coming out soon, but we got some hats coming. I've always had a passion, Baxter, for kind of style, my swag, and all that
Absolutely,
stuff. So that's all my thing. So I worked really hard on making sure the image was good, the quality of the clothes was good. So it took me probably a little longer than I wanted to take, but I just wanted to make sure that the brand was going to be quality, and people were like, oh, he's not just throwing this thing together. So like I really took my time. I really thought of all the patterns and everything, and honestly, I'm excited to see where it can go.
Absolutely.
It's looking pretty good.
It is. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so
that
much.
as well, too. Final thing. Favorite goal you've scored this season so far?
Favorite goal I scored so far? Jeez, honestly,
or favorite celebration, maybe. I don't know.
No, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to score 7. I think I've scored 5 before in my past career, but just scoring 7 and honestly just helping my team win though. Yeah. So like even if I score 1 and we're winning, I'm happy with it. But to score 7, I think is pretty big, man. So and we kind of needed that. So yeah. I'm happy that I could do that, provide for my team. But whatever I need to do for my team, man, score, defend, have fun, dance, take off my shirt, whatever I got to do, man.
Whatever sells tickets, right? That's fine.
Exactly, right?
Awesome, man. Well, Ian, we appreciate you stopping by the studio. We hope to have you back on again soon, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Happy birthday to my brother.
There we go. Shout out to little bro, big bro?
Little bro.
He's
taller than me, though.
Oh, my gosh. Ian Bennett, everybody of the Milwaukee Wave. All right, we're going to run to a final break. When we come back, Philadelphia sports writer Jonathan Tannewald is going to be joining us to give us an insight about what he's doing out west and MLS and anything else in the soccer world. We'll talk about that more right after this. It's 2 Up Front, presented by 3 Lions Pub. Stay with us. Welcome back to Two Up Front, presented by Three Lions Pub from the Attention Era Media Studios, rolling right along with the show. We've had an absolutely incredible show so far today. We had Chicago Red Stars forward Cara Walls on the show. We had Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Berry. And then we just had Milwaukee Wave midfielder, technically, Ian Bennett, live in studio as well, too. Simon Provan is not here today, unfortunately. He's off being a father to an aspiring actor. So we wish his daughter Bethany the very best in her acting endeavors that she's got going on today. Joining us now via the Skype world is a journalist that has been around for quite a long time. He's been on the show as well. He covers the Philadelphia Union for many other things. It's Jonathan Tannewald. He joins us on the shopfutsal.com call-in line now. Jonathan, how are we doing, sir? You sound like you're in a busy environment. What are you doing?
Just a little bit. I am venues at the National Soccer Coaches Association of America convention, headed to the National Women's Soccer League draft, which begins at 12 noon Pacific, which I believe is 2 o'clock where you are.
Yes.
3 o'clock where I'm from. I'm an East Coast kid spending a week in Los Angeles. I've never spent this much time in downtown LA before. It's very strange.
I was about to say, I'm like, are you okay? Are you doing all right? Do you need someone to come and help you?
I could do with a better public transit system, but other than that, I think I'm fine.
Yes, I would have to agree with you on that one. What have you learned so far by being at this coaches convention? I'm sure that there's been a lot of different talks.
I've been to this many times before. It is an event that I really enjoy. It's really one of the largest, if not the largest, annual gathering of the American soccer community. And look, we like to rag on soccer coaches in America all the time, and I understand why, but there are a lot of really good exchange of ideas and connections and contacts. You also have the NWSL and MLS drafts held during this event. Say will about fullness. But, it is the only time all year when all of these people are in the same place. And for those of us in the media, and really your listeners should not care about the media, but if they should have to, it's a great time for us.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. It gives you guys as the media an opportunity to really check out what's going on behind the scenes. You kind of have an idea of how to prepare going into 2017 from a media coverage standpoint as well too. The NWSL draft, of course, obviously taking place shortly. We talked about it briefly in the beginning of the show. Of course, being here in Wisconsin, Rose Lavelle, the Wisconsin Badger, certainly has garnered a lot of attention as well too. Have you heard any mullings at all about possible trades or anything going on early on here before the draft kicks off?
Well, I'm no Dan Lauletta, so I'm not an expert on that sort of thing. But look, I think Lavelle is certainly one of the candidates to be. So is USC.
Oh, did we lose you, Jonathan? There we are. Okay.
No, I hope not. I'm here.
Nope, we got you.
There are not nearly enough bratwursts in the American soccer. All right, can you hear me?
Yes, you're good. Go ahead.
All right. There are not nearly enough bratwursts nor rolled out barrels in the American soccer community, so I am all in favor of there being more.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that one. The NWSL, as we know, the Boston Breakers have the first overall pick. They certainly need the help after an iffy 2016 campaign and even 2015 campaign as well too. But let's go to MLS. Is something that you probably know just a little bit more about, of course, based off of your coverage of the Philadelphia Union. Have you had an opportunity to see the guys at the Combine at all, Jonathan, and heard any mullings about potential first overall picks?
I was at the Combine for a day, and because they basically take a bunch of players who've never played with or against each other before, throw them out on the field, and expect them to play good soccer.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is entirely fair or rational, nor produces what you really want to see. But a good coach, a good scouting staff will have seen these players before drafting them, and that should be what they judge them on. When I hear a coach say, well, we drafted this guy because we really liked his combine performances, I ding him a couple points, because that's not the way it's supposed to work.
Agreed.
But Jeremy Abobese of Duke is going to be high up there among the picks. The Jalen Robinson, is that the kid's name, from Syracuse, I think, the center back, is a player who, there have been some reports out there about a number of MLS teams potentially trading up to get. So, we'll see. I'm covering a local kid from Philadelphia, one of the Philadelphia schools, who I don't think is going to be a high pick, but just to see where he goes, and then see who the Union pick up. And other than that, I'm none too worried because the Union don't have a first-round pick. So.
And I was just going to ask you too. Then, how do you feel? What way do the Union need, in your opinion?
I don't know that they need to go anywhere in the draft. I think they need to sign a veteran center back. And if they do that, maybe they'll make some trades tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see if they can come up with some allocation money or an international slot. If they do that and go out and sign a veteran center back, maybe one more midfielder, I think they'll be in decent shape.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. And Philly as a whole in 2016 wasn't terrible, honestly. But like you said, the defense, getting that veteran presence on the back line would certainly help shore up just the last possible couple of holes that they've got there. So,
they need a striker too.
Yes, of course,
and possibly a better one than Jay Simpson, who I'm not all that impressed with. But if he can score goals, then he can score goals, and that's the only thing that counts.
That is true. That is very true. All right, well, Jonathan, we know you're a busy man. We'll let you run, but we appreciate you checking in briefly with us. Where can people find anything you might be writing while you're at the Combine and find you on social media?
At Philly.com/soccer and on Twitter at the goalkeeper. And the convention's in Philly next year. You guys should come out and take us.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. I'd love to get out to Philadelphia. I appreciate it, Jonathan. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There goes Jonathan Tannewald on the shopfutsal.com call-in line. We apologize for a little bit of the shakiness in our connection. He was obviously going through a convention center and also through an elevator, it sounded like, there at the end as well. But, one of the final things I wanted to talk about here, too, I know it's just been kind of a fast and furious 57, 58 minutes, honestly. I mean, like we said, we just had 4 great guests on. Simon Provan was here briefly for that first segment talking about everything going on with possibly Jesse Marsh going across to Red Bull Salzburg, which I think would be kind of a cool move for him, in all honesty. I think he's a great coach. He knows what it takes to win, and he's been able to manage high-level players, at least American players, and Bradley Wright Phillips as well, too. He's obviously an English player. A player that would be interested to see at the international level as well, too. But that's a whole other conversation. One of the things I wanted to laugh at, though, before we let all of you go today, if you haven't seen this circulating on social media yet, it's a video about Bayern Munich midfielder and attacker Thomas Müller. He is coming through the airport, and kind of a funny thing, he fakes out the media basically because he's on the phone as he's walking by them and smiling and kind of gives them a quick little wave, but he's like, "Oh guys, I'm on the phone," and just kind of keeps walking. What you don't notice unless you really look is that he's actually talking on his passport. He psychs out everybody and just does this whole conversation faking that he's on the phone because he just doesn't frankly want to talk to the media, which I don't blame him for. I guess the media is a bunch of pigs that just only thinks about themselves at times. That is not true, but to an extent it is. But he's looking like, "Oh guys, I'm on," pointing like to his phone, like, "I'm on the phone, sorry, I can't talk right now." But when you slow the video down and you look closer, it's like, number one, nobody's phone is that wide, and number two, usually most phones don't say passport on them either. You can get some pretty weird cases for your phones nowadays. I've never seen a passport one, though, to say the least. So Thomas Müller getting a good laugh at the expense of the soccer media landscape today. All right, we've had an absolutely incredible show today. Special thank you to all of our guests that appeared on the show today. Chicago Red Stars and Wisconsin native Cara Walls joined us in our second segment. Milwaukee Torrent goalkeeper Nick Berry joined us. The Milwaukee Wave forward, midfielder, goal scorer extraordinaire Ian Bennett was live in studio with us, and then we just heard from Philadelphia sports soccer writer Jonathan Tannewald briefly as well in our final segment. Simon Provan was here, of course, as well in our first segment. A very special thanks to you, the listener, for listening. Remember, you can get us Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12 to 1 p.m. Central Time, live on Spreaker.com. There will be changes coming to the show. We will let you know about those soon. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge, to borrow the popular word. But we don't want to give you too much information just yet. If you have predictions, let us know on social media. Facebook, 2UpFront, Twitter, at 2UpFrontSoccer, at Baxter Colburn, at Simon Provan, or shoot us an email, 2upfrontsoccer@gmail.com. And, of course, shoot over to our website, 2upfrontsoccer.com, to check out information about the show, find past episodes, and, of course, learn more about Simon and myself. For Simon Provan, I'm Baxter Colburn. Thanks so much for spending your Thursday with us. With our manager being the one above, we are 2UpFront.